Katie, this is Sam, and today we're going to do a 20-minute restore glutes. So we're going to work your ass. So come on down to the mat and join us. We're going to start side lying. So I'm going to just hook my knees so that the heels are level with my tailbone and lie down onto my side. Good so far, right? No. From here, we're going to keep our hips as level as we can. You can let your head rest on your arm. If that feels uncomfortable, feel free to bring your hand up and put your ear on your hand. But I find that we just get a little bit more sideline activation if I can find myself lying on the floor. Top hand, fingertips come in front of the rib cage. And I want you to imagine that I've given you a Malteser. You're going to stash that Malteser underneath your side waistline. So create a little lift. Again, if your waistline isn't actually lifting off the floor, that's fine. But the more lift we have under the side waistline, the more stable we keep our hips. So with that top hand, fingertips pressing into the floor, heels connected, we're going to start to open the top leg. But again, I don't want your focus to just be on lifting the leg. Keeping the hip position still, as you lift the leg, think of reaching your knee as far to the corner of the room as possible. So your focus isn't on the up, the focus is on finding space in your hip. And lastly, keep that rib and hip connection nice and strong. The longer your spine is here, the more you work your butt. Inhale and come down just to halfway. Exhale and lengthen to lift. Inhale down to halfway. Exhale, lengthen to lift. Inhale down to halfway. Exhale, lengthen to lift. Inhale down to halfway. Exhale, lengthen to lift. We've got 4 more. Inhale, halfway lower. Exhale, lift. And if you need to, you can put your hand on your butt. It's specifically targeting towards where your glute med is, but it should feel like it's sort of the outside portion of your butt, keeping you nice and supported. Last 2. Remember to breathe as you go. Last 1. We're going to hold this one up and we're going to take a little tiny pulse. And again, I want you to think of lengthening your leg out rather than lifting up. So lengthen, pulse, lengthen, pulse, lengthen, pulse, lengthen, pulse. The more you find a press into your front hand in front of your chest, the more you'll find naturally that your side waistline lifts up. Keep breathing. We are 4, 3, last 2, last 1. If it's available, we're going to lift both of our heels and keep the pulse. If it's not available to lift the heels, keep the heels flat. We're pulsing 6, last 5, last 4, last 3, last 2, last 1. Don't collapse. Lower the bottom leg, lift the top. We're going to knock our knees together and take the heels apart, and then heels together and take the knees apart. As much as you can, you want to stay level through your hip and your pelvis. So trying to avoid wibbling and wobbling forwards and backwards. That press of the hand into the floor should fire up through the top layer of the abdominals just a little, and keep that side line nice and active. It should feel like the world's slowest and most painful Charleston. Last 4, last 3, last 2, last 1. Bring the leg back, flex the heel, and from here, think of using your core to draw that leg forward until the knee is in front of the hip. Keep the top line of the body long. Keep that Malteser safe underneath your side waistline. Using your abdominals, think of pulsing your thigh bone towards your rib cage. Exhale 8, exhale 7, exhale 6, exhale 5, exhale 4, last 3, last 2, last 1. Last challenge, if you can, is to flex your heel, extend out the leg, breathe and hold for 3, 2, and 1. Let that leg relax, give it a little beat back to life. From here, we're going to restack our feet, but this time we're going to lengthen ourselves all the way out into a straight line. You might find that you're slightly more in a dish shape, which is fine, but we just want those legs nice and long. We're going to stay in parallel here, so be careful that those hips do stay stacked. If you need to shuffle your bottom back and bring your feet forward a touch, that's absolutely fine. Inhale, and as you exhale, lengthen your top leg and lift it up, keeping it parallel. Now, the minute that you add any turn out here, it's going to change the exercise, so try to keep it parallel for me and lengthen out your big toe as far as you can. Inhale, lower halfway. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower halfway. Exhale, lift. Inhale to lower halfway. Exhale to lift. Inhale, lower halfway. Exhale, lift. We've got 2 more. Inhaling, lowering halfway. Exhaling to lift. Inhaling, lower halfway. Exhale to lift. From here, flex your heel. And now you're going to give me an external rotation. So rotate the hip open and close. So it's the femur bone turning in the hip socket. It's not the knees, it's not the ankle, and it's not just the foot. It comes from the top of the leg. Rotate it out, bring it into parallel. Last 2. Last one, hold your turn out. From here, you're going to bring your knee in towards your shoulder. Inhale, exhale, kick it out. Inhale, exhale, kick it out. Really think of nice and strongly pressing through that heel. Inhale, bend. Exhale, press out. Inhale, bend. Exhale, press out. If you're feeling extra super ninja, the arm can lift off so that as you exhale, knee and elbow come together. We're getting a nice oblique workout at the same time. Press and lengthen. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. From here, pop the hand down and you're going to try and lift your leg into a rainbow. Up, tap it forwards. Up, bring it back. Don't close the leg. Up, tap it forwards. Up and back. Last 2. It doesn't matter if your range of movement is tiny, as long as you draw that rainbow for me, wherever that range is. Last 1. Come all the way back together. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. And relax. From here, we're going to bring ourselves up, spin ourselves round, and repeat on the other side. So lengthening down nice and long. And to start with, those heels are stacked level with your tailbone. Ear on your arm, or if you need to, head on your hand. Long spine, long tailbone. Again, think of keeping a little imaginary Malteser underneath that side waistline. Relax through the shoulders. Inhale. Exhale. Lift the top thigh bone, but think of lengthening it out towards the diagonal. Inhale to lower halfway. Exhale to press and lift. Inhale to lower halfway. Exhale, press and lift. Inhale, lower halfway. Exhale, press and lift. Inhale, lower halfway, and really lengthen out that thigh bone. Lengthen it as far away from you as you can, keeping your pelvis level. Last 4. Last 3. Keep the connection in the abdominals, lifting off the imaginary Malteser. Last 2. Last 1. From here, we're going to take a little teeny tiny top range pulse. Exhale, pulse and lift. Exhale, pulse and lift. Exhale, pulse and lift. Exhale, pulse and lift. We've got 4 more. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Lift the heels if you can and keep the pulse. If the heel lift isn't there for you today, that's fine. Keep the heels on the floor. Last 4. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Lower the bottom heel. Knees come together. Heels come together. And really feel like you're going up and over. Up and over. Up and over. Up and over. Good. Up and over. Keep that side waistline nice and active. Up and over. Up and over. Last 4. Internal rotation. 3. External rotation. 2. Last 1, don't collapse. Bring the leg up parallel. Use your abdominals and your exhale to scoop that knee in front of your hip. Keep the top shoulder relaxed and use your abs to fire your thigh bone towards your rib cage for 8, 7, 6, last 5, last 4, last 3. Keep it nice and strong. Last 2. Last 1. Last challenge is to stretch out that leg. Keep the hips level. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Beat it back into life if you need to. Extend out the legs nice and long. And from here, if you work out, if you need to bring your toes a little further forward so you're more in a dish shape, or if you can be lengthened more into an I shape, wherever you need to be. Again, I'm going to keep my hands just in front of my rib cage. Lengthen out the top leg and keep it as parallel as you can. Lengthen, lift, lower to halfway. Lengthen, lift, lower to halfway. Keep the underneath of the waistline alive. The temptation when we lie on our sides just to let everything hang into the floor is super strong. But the more that we keep lengthened, the more we keep lifted, the more effective it is. We're 4. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Find a flex in your heel as we externally rotate, internally rotate. Externally rotate, internally rotate. Externally rotate, internally rotate. And it doesn't matter how high this leg is. If it's relatively low, that's still fine. We're just looking for that external rotation and internal rotation, trying to keep the hips as still as possible. Last 2. Last 1, hold that external rotation. And from here, fire your knee in towards your shoulders. Knee in, heel out, press. Knee in, heel out, press. Knee in, heel out, press. If you're feeling extra super ninja, top arm can lift off and your elbow and your knee can come together and lengthen. It's also a balance challenge. So if it's feeling a little too much to take the leg and the arm, don't be afraid to keep that hand down and work on just that frog leg in, press it out. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Don't collapse. Keep your leg nice and long. You can point or flex. I'm going to draw that big rainbow up and forward. 4. Recover. 3. Recover. Last 2. Recover. Last 1. And recover and relax. From here, let's come to sitting. And we're going to bring ourselves back round and scooch ourselves to the floor. I'm just going to do a little bit of a rearrange so I don't land on my microphone. Feet flat, knees to the ceiling. And just find a little scoop and tuck and roll. So you can hold on to the back of your thighs if that feels nicer. If you're at the point where you can let go and control yourself down, that's absolutely fine. From here, placing the hands down. 3 options of arm placement. 1 is hands low. 2 is hands into a T shape. And 3 is arms all the way above the head. Start with the hands low. We can always increase, and you feel free to always bring it back down as you need to. So from here, we're going to start with an articulation through the spine. Full breath in, full breath out. Scoop, tuck, roll, articulate. Press to the heels, draw the bottom up towards the ceiling, and find that super sweet spot in your glute bridge. From here, it doesn't matter how much extension range you've got. So if you're going higher, that's fine, you've got that range. But where I want you to find is that space across the shoulders so that it almost feels like the lower back is hanging down and you've got a little bit of space in that lower back. From here, if you're thinking of anything else other than your butt, your hamstrings are going to really fire. So really draw the heels into the floor and really think of using your bottom to press your hips towards the ceiling. From here, we're going to lift our heels and lower our heels, trying as much as we can to keep the focus in the glutes, because as soon as you lift your heels, you'll find different things want to fire. So we've got 4 more. Last 3. Last 2. Last 1. Lower the heels down, and now we're going to take a little lower and lift. So inhale, lower the hips an inch. Exhale, use your bottom, press the pelvis at the sky. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. And you want this to really feel like this is in your glutes, your butt, not your hamstrings. If you get cramp in your hamstring, come down, stretch the leg out, take a little release. We've got 4 more. 4. And you want to find that little hollow out in front of the hip bones. 3. Last 2. Last one. We're going to take a little combination of both of those things. So our heels lift, heels lower, hips lower, and squeeze. Heels lift, heels lower, hips drop, and squeeze. Heels lift and lower, hips drop, and squeeze. Heels lift and lower, hips drop, and squeeze. Last 4. Lower and squeeze. Last 3. Lower and squeeze. Last 2. Lower and squeeze. Last 1. Lower and squeeze. Hold that squeeze. Inhale. And as you exhale, scoop, tuck, roll, and articulate down through the spine. Oh, maybe just find a wiggle out through the hips. From here, we're going to roll over onto our side and roll ourselves up into a 4-point kneeling position. Hands underneath our shoulders, knees underneath our hips. Square yourself out here. Now, if this feels a little too much for wrists, feel free to make a fist with each hand, pressing through index finger and longest finger. Or you can come down to your forearms. So don't be afraid to bring this down to your forearms if that's where you feel like you need to be. From here, we're going to extend out the left leg behind us. Extend it out along the floor and lengthen it away from you as much as you can. Keep lifted through the core, supporting the front of the body and the back of the body. Use your bottom to lift and tap your left leg. Lift and tap. Lift and tap. Lift and tap. Lift and tap. For 4, 3, last 2, last one, lengthen the leg out as much as you can. Take a pulse and squeeze. Lengthen it out to lift it up. Send that big toe as far away from you as you can. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, don't collapse. Flex at the knee, hamstring curl position, stamp your foot to the sky. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, don't collapse. Knees come back together. Keep the weight off the left leg. And from here, we're just sliding it straight to the side. Lateral lift. 8, 7, 6, 5. Make your last 4 your best 4. Last 3. Last 2, last 1, come back to center. Give yourself an ease out, release your wrists if you need to. Opposite leg slides out behind you. Lengthen it as far away from you as you can as you lift and tap. Lift and tap. Try and stay square through the shoulders. Imagine that you're trying to keep that champagne flute in the center of your back and not tip it anywhere. And tap. We've got 4 more. Use your bottom to lift the leg. Lengthen out through the big toe. 3. Last 2. Last 1. Hold the leg up and think again of using your bottom as you pulse that leg for 8, 7, 6, 5. Lengthen it. 4. Lengthen it. 3. 2, don't collapse. Flex the knee, heel to ceiling. Stamp it. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Again, don't collapse. Knees together. Sliding into that side lift. 8, recover. 7, 6, crown is long, tailbone is long. Last 4, last 3, last 2, last 1. Bring your toes down to the floor, knees down to the floor. Take your knees wider. Slide yourself back into a child's pose stretch. Breathe and lengthen. From here, rolling yourself up, we're going to slide ourselves back down onto our backs. Just taking a little mini seat stretch out, crossing one foot over, knee out to the side. Bring the underneath leg up. From here, ankle bone over thigh bone, finding that release. When you're ready, little wiggle and shake. Other leg, other side. Breathe. And you can hold this stretch for as long as you like and revisit it anytime you need it. I'm bringing my legs together to roll onto the side and bring myself up to sitting. Thanks so much for joining us today for a little glute workout. We hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to let us know how you found it in the comments below, and we'll catch you next time.